My greetings to everyone. I am Professor Namita Rajput, Professor in Department of Commerce, Sri Aurobindo College, University of Delhi. In the ongoing series of entrepreneurship and new venture planning, today we are going to discuss the scaling up of the entrepreneurial venture. Now it is of two types, the strategic alliances and the joint venture. Now what is strategic alliances? When the two firms share the expertise or the market, this is a strategic alliance. And the joint venture is that when the two firms create a new entity for a particular shared goals. Now what are the benefits? If you go in for the strategic alliances and the joint venture, it becomes easy to enter the new market and also share the risk and share the profits. Let's take an example of Starbucks Tata. Tata Starbucks is a joint venture between Tata Group and the Starbucks to scale across India. The internationalization, expanding to the global market, opens up the new revenue streams. So, for this, we need to deeply understand the local markets, the local laws, the custom language, and build the local supply chain and the teams. For example, Zara, the fashion retailer, it adjusts its design and the marketing to match the customer preferences in each country it operates. Now, making a business scalable. Scaling becomes easier when the business model is prepared for it. Like the first is your flexible system. Your internal systems like order processing, customer service, inventory should handle the increased volume easily. For example, a cloud-based, that is CRM, likes the Salesforce, helps the companies manage the millions of customer interactions efficiently. The second is your technology adaptation. Using a modern technology makes the growth faster and also less expensive. For example, automated inventory management, chatbots for customer service, or cloud computing can support the larger customer bases without hiring the extra staff. The standardization. Creating the uniform process ensures the consistent quality. Definitely, when you talk about scaling the entrepreneurial venture, it has to be illustrated. McDonald's uses the same kitchen process globally to ensure that the same taste is there everywhere. The customer-centric growth, the customer feedback and the data helps the business grow in the right direction. For example, Netflix uses the customer viewing data to suggest the content, keeping the users engaged and reducing the churn. Financial planning. Always the plan finances to manage the growth expenses until the business stabilizes. For example, you need to set aside an expansion fund or secure the lines of credit before starting the expansion. Then we have is the leadership development. We need to train the existing and the new managers to handle the new responsibilities. For example, a retail chain opening the 10 stores may promote the senior employees to store the managers and give them the leadership training to ensure the smooth operations. So we can say now that scaling a business is not just about getting bigger, it's about building the systems, it's about building the people, it's about building the strategies that allow the business to grow without losing the quality, the culture and also the financial control. So with the right planning and approach, entrepreneurs can definitely scale successfully and transform their startups into the lasting enterprises. Innovation is not just about inventing the new products or using the latest technology. It is a strategic approach that helps the business solve the problem, improve the processes, stay competitive, and grow sustainably. For entrepreneurs, innovation is a vital force that transforms the idea into a real world solutions. It enables the market leadership and ensures a long term success. Despite its importance, many companies they struggle with implementing innovation effectively due to the unclear strategies, resistance to change, and lack of integration across the departments. Therefore, innovation must be embedded in the organization's culture, leadership, operations, and the long term planning. Now, why is innovation important for the growth? Integration. Innovation into a long term strategy. Innovation must be aligned with the organization, mission, vision, and the business model. It should be a part of the overall growth strategy rather than treated as an isolated initiative. For example, Tesla integrates innovation into its mission of accelerated the world's transition to sustainable energy by continuously improving the electric vehicles, energy storage, and the solar products. The second is your staying competitive. In a rapidly evolving market, customer needs and the preferences they change frequently. Business that innovate are better equipped to adapt and outperform the competitors. For example, Apple maintained its competitive edge by launching the feature rich user friendly products and continuously enhancing its ecosystem of devices and services. Driving profitability. Innovation creates new sources of income and opens up the untapped market. It also allows the companies to improve the efficiency, reduce the cost, and deliver the most value to the customers. For example, Netflix innovation in the content delivery and the recommendation systems has really helped it grow into a global leader in the entertainment streaming. The next is your solving the business problems. Through innovation, a business can develop the solutions to internal inefficiencies, customer complaints, and emerging industry challenges. For example, Uber addressed the issue of taxi availability and transparency through a technology enabled ride hailing platform, embedding the innovation into a business strategy. To leverage the innovation effectively, it must be embedded into every part of the organization. Vision and leadership. Top management should set a clear innovation agenda, communicate its importance, and allocate the resources to support the innovation. For example, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos emphasized the customer obsession and innovation, which led to the services like Prime, AWS, and Kindle. Another is building a culture of innovation. Organizations must foster an environment where the employees feel very safe to share their ideas, experiment, and learn from the failures. There are ways to build a culture. Encourage the idea generation through brainstorming and innovation workshops. Reward the employees for creative thinking. Support the pilot projects and experimentation. Like Google, internal policy allowed the employees to spend about 20% of their time on the personal projects, leading to the creation of Gmail and the Google News. You need to be having a commitment to the continuous learning. Organizations must invest in learning and development, monitoring the market trends, and stay informed about the technological advancements. For example, LinkedIn regularly updates its learning platform based on the user needs and the future skills, trends to remain relevant and helpful. Understanding the customer needs, understanding what customer wants, help create a meaningful and useful innovations. This can be done through the feedback, survey and the market analysis. For example, Zoom gained popularity by offering a very simple, reliable video conferencing platform at a time when ease of use was highly valued. The second is your investing in research and development. Ongoing research and development activities are necessary to explore new technologies, improve the product and gain a competitive advantage. The PLIFR invests significantly in R&D to develop a breakthrough drugs and the vaccines. The next is your encouraging the cross-department collaboration. Innovation is most effective when diverse departments they work together and share the perspectives. For example, in a customer electronic company, marketing might identify the customer desires and engineering might assess the technical feasibility. And also the finance might evaluate the cost implications to develop a successful product. The next is leveraging the technology and the digital transformation. Technology enhances the innovation by enabling the faster decisions, data-driven insights and automation. Now, there are some key technologies which include the cloud computing, artificial intelligence, machine learning. So, let's do these one by one. The first is your cloud computing. This enables the data access from anywhere, increasing the efficiency. Next is your artificial intelligence, that is AI. It allows the automation of the customer service, data analysis and the predictive task. The next is your machine learning, which helps the system improve through the data without the explicit programming. The next is your big data analytics. Analysis, customer behavior, trends, operation metrics for better decision making. Then we have the Internet of Things, that is IoT, which connects the devices for the data sharing and the remote operations. For example, e-commerce platforms uses the big data and AI to recommend the products based on the user behavior, increasing the customer satisfaction and the sales. Next we have is the innovation and the market expansion. Innovation also plays a very key role in entering and succeeding in the new market. The first is your diversification. Innovating to offer the different products or the services reduces the dependency on any one market and spreads the business risk. Like for example, Amul started with a dairy but diversified into chocolates, bakery and the beverages, creating the new customer segments. Next we have is the increased revenue. Innovative offering attracts the more customers, resulting in a higher income. Then we have EdTech companies like Byju's entertain new international markets with the localized learning platforms. The next we have is the accessing the global markets. Adapting the products to the local needs using the innovation allows the companies to succeed in the diverse regions. For example, Coca-Cola introduced the smaller affordable packaging in the price sensitive markets to suit the local consumption patterns. Next we have is establishing the competitive advantage. Entering a market early with a unique offering allows the companies to gain a first mover advantage. Amazon's early entry into the Indian market gave it a lead in logistics and the market penetration. The next is your economies of the scale. When innovation reduces the production cost, the companies can benefit from producing and selling more units at a lower cost per unit. For example, a smartphone manufacturer can lower the cost by increasing the production volumes while maintaining the quality. Next, we have the talent and the resource access. The new markets often offer the access to the skilled labor or the raw material at a lower cost. For example, global tech companies have established the research and the development centers in India to leverage the country's engineering talent. For example, innovation is no longer optional for the entrepreneurs, it is very essential. By making the innovation continuous, strategic and organization-wide process, starts up and growing the business can stay competitive, reach the new markets and build the sustainable models for the long-term growth. It must be supported by the visionary leadership, a positive culture, the customer understanding and of course a strong technological capabilities. So when a business enters a new market, whether it's a new city, region or country, it faces the new challenges and the opportunities. Success in such markets depend on how well the business understands the local environment, adapts its approach. So let's explore these strategies in depth one by one. The first and the foremost what we are going to discuss is the market research, that is understanding the ground reality. Before launching a product in a new market, business must study the customer behavior, preferences, needs and the competitors. This will help them tailor their offerings to meet the real demand. What is a market research? It is a process of collecting the data about the customer likes and dislikes, customer habits, spending ability and the competitor strategies. Now there's a question, why it's important? Because it helps avoid the guesswork. It ensures that the product or the services fits the local lifestyle. It also helps because it identifies the demand gaps and the opportunities. Like for example, a global fast food chain like McDonald's conducts the market research before opening in a new country. So in India, whether a significant population is vegetarian, McDonald's introduce vegetarian friendly options like Mac Aloo Tikki burger, which you won't find in the US market. Similarly, another example, in the colder countries like Canada or Sweden, fashion companies like Uniqlo promotes their thermal wear collections. In contrast, in the tropical countries like Thailand or India, the market light cotton clothing suitable for the hot climates. Second is your adaptability and adapting the products and the services customized to the local needs. Just copying the original product won't work everywhere. The companies must customize their products, pricing and the packaging to match the local expectations and also the affordability. The first we are going to discuss is the customization. You need to adapt the product in terms of the size, taste, cultural relevance. You need to first see the size. You need to offer the small packets if people shop daily. You need to understand the taste because it adds the flavors, preferably locally. You also need to understand the cultural relevance, that is, use the regional specific colors, icons or the language on the packaging. Like for example, in Japan, the Kit Kat comes in the flavors like matcha green tea, sake, which suits the Japanese taste. In the rural India, the detergent brands like Wheel sell their small sachet of rupees 2 to cater to the low income households who prefer buying in the small quantities. Then we come on to the pricing strategy. Affordability is the key in developing the markets. For example, Samsung offers a high-end smartphones globally, but also designs the low-cost phones with the essential features for the African and the South Asian market. Then we have the Netflix introduced a mobile only with a subscription plan in India at the rate of 149 per month to cater to the price sensitive users in India. Then we have building a strong local partnerships. Working alone in a new market can be very risky. So the local partnership can help the business gain the market insights, the customer trust and the faster distribution and the service. Now we have the different types of partnerships with the local business who understands the cultural norms, with the local suppliers, distributors to ensure the timely delivery and also hiring the local talent to build the authentic customer relationship. For example, Walmart partnered with Bharati Enterprises when entering India to navigate the retail and regularity and the regulatory environment better. Starbucks entered India by partnering with the Tata Group, a trusted Indian conglomerate. So, this gave a Starbucks instant brand credibility and access to the local resources. Then we have overcoming the challenges in the new market. Expanding globally brings many challenges. Two major ones are, the first is your regulatory and the legal differences. Each market has its own laws, the tax systems, import-export rules and the labor regulations. For example, a US-based company exporting to Europe must comply with GDPR laws, that is the data protection regulations. A company importing food products to India must follow FSSAI guidelines. The failures to do so can result in the penalties or the product bans. Then we have the cultural sensitivity. Cultural values deeply affect how people perceive the products, advertisements and the brands. For example, the colors. In the Western cultures, while often symbolizes the purity, while in some Asian cultures it is associated with mourning. Now the symbols, a thumbs up sign may mean a good job in one culture, may be offensive in another. Humor, what is funny in US may be misunderstood in the Middle East or Japan. For example, Pepsi One translated its slogan, Pepsi brings you back to life, into Mandarin, which leads as a Pepsi brings your ancestors back from grave, causing a backlash in China. KFC's original slogan, finger licking good, was mistranslated in China as eat your finger off. So the conclusion is that to succeed in the new market, the business must go not just beyond exporting their existing products, they need to understand deeply the local market and understand the local needs through a deep market research, customize their offering and the pricing, collaborate with the local partners, and respect the legal and the cultural differences what the countries have. This not only will increase their chances of the business success, but also helps them building lasting customer relationship and also the brand loyalty. So we can say that you have to prepare for the future, and this preparing for the future is all about in the fast changing global market. Simply entering a new market isn't enough. Business must also prepare for future to survive, grow and stay ahead of their competitors. This means adopting a right technology, staying flexible in the strategies and focusing on a continuous innovation. So let's understand these ideas. The first is adapt the new technology. What it means, using the modern tools, software and equipment can help the business work. Technology makes it easier to produce the better products, offer the faster services, reduce the human errors and connect with the customers in a smarter way. Why it's important? Because it reduces the cost and saves the time. It improves the product quality, customer satisfaction. It also helps the business to scale operations without needing a lot more resources. For example, retail examples like Big Bazaar and Reliance. The retail use barcode scanners and inventory management systems to track the sales and restock the shelves quickly. The small business example, a local bakery might use an online delivery app like Zomato or Swiggy to reach more customers and also manage their online orders. Tech example is like Tata Motors using a robotic arm on the production lines to speed up the car assembly and reduce the human errors. Then we have a healthcare example like Apollo Hospitals using an AI-based diagnostic tool to detect the diseases like cancer early. We need to create the flexible strategies like business to quickly adapt when the things change, and instead of sticking rigidly to the one plan, the companies should be ready to change the direction when the customer's technology or the competition changes. So markets are unpredictable, flexible, so the companies need to respond to the sudden changes like new customers, new competitors, price drops and the supply chain issues. It also helps in making the business relevant and the customer centric. It also reduces the risk during the uncertain times like economic crisis or pandemic. Pandemic 19 response. During the pandemic, many clothing companies like Fab India, H&M started making face masks and PPE kits because the clothing sales dropped and there was a high demand for safety products. E-commerce flexibility. Amazon India adapted its delivery and also the lockdowns by focusing more on the essential goods like local Kirana stores. So, we need to focus on innovation, we need to prepare for the future because it attracts, retain the customers by offering the unique value, opening up of the new markets and resources and ahead of the competition. And we need to also deeply understand the product innovation, the process innovation and also talk about the business models which are new. So, at the end I would like to add that if business wants to survive in the long run, they must embrace technology, stay adaptable, innovate continuously. So, these future ready strategies will ensure the sustainability, growth and the market leadership. Thank you so much.